Hello, this is Darin Martineau with ProMagicArt.com, and in today's video I'm going to talk about desirable qualities of a master magician. And these are attributes. You see, it's not only about the techniques, because technical skill on this list that I'm going to go over by S.H. Sharp and Neo Magic Artistry, technical skill comes number 4 on his list of curriculum and prioritizing. So we're going to talk about some quotes out of this book. This is a great book. If you don't have it, I highly recommend it, and that's Neo Magic Artistry by S.H. Sharp. He says, quote, success as a master magician demands constant enthusiasm, individual personality, and experience backed up by, and then he lists 6 things that we're going to talk about today. First one he lists is exclusive information. Okay, and exclusive information, what he says is the greatest master magicians have always been those whose work appealed not only to their colleagues and their peers, but also the general public. So when we look at, people, they're master magicians like Jeff McBride and Eugene Berger and things like this. You look at Doug Henning, you look at these people, this is very much true. They all have, this exclusive information. And so this is very important quality. You see, it's not about only techniques, it's about attributes. So this is how we learn to master the art and craft of magic. The next one is misdirection. Okay, we're going to go over some quotes here. I highly recommend the Fiske trilogy and the books on misdirection. There's many other things I'm going to recommend as well. What S.H. Sharp says in here about misdirection, just to give a little quote, he says, the audience's mind must be guided into any channel other than that on which the magical effect really depends, which naturally leads to the next accomplishment, which is histrionic ability. But let's back up a minute to misdirection. There's quotes, I think it's from Harry Lorraine and other master magicians say, if the audience feels something has happened, it's just as bad as if they know something has happened. And that's why you have to be completely, you cannot raise any suspicion whatsoever. And that's where it comes into play. You have to balance the level of claim with the level of proof. Then you get into the two perfect theory and a whole bunch of other things. In my book, The SURREALLUSION System, I go over, if you want to get into deep levels of this, I highly recommend that. It's on my website. You can find it. Okay, so that leads us to the next one. This is the third attribute, or the third desirable quality of the master magician, which is histrionic ability. And that's the acting ability. And then he gives a quote from Robert Houdin and from Masculine and such. The quote he says is, he doesn't say it in here, but he does say one quote. Robert Houdin says, a magician is the actor playing the part of the magician. And there's a whole bunch of things on that we're not going to get into. We don't have the time to go over everything in this video, but I will give a quote on this, on histrionic ability. This is from S.H. Sharp. He doesn't say that quote, but I wanted to put that in here. But what he says is, when people leave a magical presentation convinced that they have witnessed some work of the devil, in spite of the performer's assertion to the contrary, we may be sure they may have seen an actor playing the part of a magician. That's a quote from Robert Houdin. And many people like Houdini, Masculine, and others were all accused of being supernaturally endowed. So if you haven't taken any acting classes or read any acting books, I would highly recommend that. I do study, I study acting books, and I've had friends that have been actors, and I haven't got into that as much as I want to, but my goal is, I'm a creator of magic, so my goals have changed. Everyone has different goals in magic, but to be a performer, you definitely need to have strong acting skills. Okay, which leads us to the next, and all of these things tie together. So the next one, which is 4, And these are in order of importance according to S.H. Sharp, which I believe he's spot on this. Number 4 is technical skill or technical mastery. Okay, there's a whole bunch of things about this, because when you get too far into technique, the presentation becomes less important. And then when you become a move monkey, you get into your own world and you just kind of alienate the audience. What he says in here is he says technical skill does not come earlier on this list because there are some effects capable of being presented without it. And that's true for beginner magicians. We always recommend like self-working effects and things like this because it's a good way to get started while you're learning the sleight of hand skills. S.H. Sharp says, quote, could we but don a pair of 5-league boots and make tracks into the distant past, we should probably find that the earliest wizards relying entirely upon natural phenomenon for their marvels and only inventing tricks when these became exhausted. So, there's a whole bunch of things about technical mastery, I remember I used to practice like 8 hours a day. And one good way to do that is with, obviously videotaping yourself is one of the best ways, but a card table and a 3-fold mirror. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things about that. And in our books, in Master Magic University, we go into a whole bunch of things on this, on knowing the difference between practicing and rehearsing magic. I mean, what are your goals? Do you want to be an amateur, a professional? Do you want to be a creator? I mean, that's when you get into really finding yourself. And there's about 8 different kinds of magicians, which I go into in my book. And he goes into this, and this is one of my favorite books on magic. If you don't have this book, you have to have this. I mean, it will make you a better magician, period. Okay, which leads us to the next one. Number 5 is number 5 and 6 is audacity and grace. If you've ever known any master magicians that you've either been mentored by or have seen or hung around with, growing up in Las Vegas, I've got to hang out with people like Jimmy Grippo, Johnny Paul. We got to see lectures, at least once a month at Gary Darwin's Magic Club. So we got to see people, master magicians from all over the world. And, some of the best master magicians, they have this quality of being audacity. And it's, you can call it being bold, you can call it what you want. But what he talks about in this book is, to give a little quote, is he says, in these elements, by audacity, I do not mean blatancy or even the taking of undue risks, for the experienced magician knows exactly how far he may go with the safety and then stops. A Herman will do the most brilliantly daring things, which such utter calmness that he never raises suspicion, though he may make the beginner's hair stand up on end for fear of giving them away. So this is really, really important. These are the qualities of being a master, You've got to be bold, And then last one, number 6, is grace. And this is obvious. You look at some of the most graceful performers. You look at Lance Burton. You look at Jeff McBride, for example, and they all have this. It's a very, very good quality. What he says about this, S.H. Sharp, to quote him, he says, a conjurer who handles his props like a hobble de hoy can hardly expect to enhance his audience. By studying the photographs in The Modern Conjurer, the headings in Robert Houdin's Secrets, and Good Actors in general, the student can learn much. A delicate touch of itself captivates the spectator's attention and makes the presentation of a conjuring feat delightful to behold, quite apart from its effect, whereas it is annoying to watch a gouache performer, however skillful he may be. So that's a good, one of the things that's good about being a teacher in magic, and being a mentor is it's kind of selfish, you know. I get to learn. So I hope you like this video today, and I hope you take these things to heart and apply them. You know, another good thing about being in teaching, a good teacher not only shows you the right ways, but shows you the wrong ways. And, you know, that's what I feel what this video will do. If you look at it, you know, the opposite of grace is being, you know, sloppy. If you look at each of those points, you know, which we'll kind of go over real quick one more time. The opposite of exclusive information is just doing the same old stuff, which is what we don't want. The opposite of misdirection is, you know, not having any misdirection and not being able to camouflage your methods. So that's terrible. You know, the opposite of histrionic ability is being a really bad actor and being Captain Obvious. You know, then technical skill, you know, the opposite of that is being, you know, someone who's butterfingers and can't even do anything. The opposite of being bold is, you know, is being, you know, being scared to do your magic and getting scared of being caught. You know, the opposite of graceful is, like I just said, is being, you know, sloppy. And so to be a master magician, you want to look at the opposites, and it's a great way in everything to take a look at your magic. So thank you very much. Please like, subscribe, and share, and have a great day.